Hi, I'm Solus and this is Withintogreat. I have no idea why I'm doing this. What's this? The strangest thing. I feel like I have to do this and I'm doing it. However, I'm just a person without credentials, just a person in life, living, learning, being. So, I've been learning a lot from Rupert Spira, and that's where my heart lies in understanding life, because it has really connected with me and my experience on the planet. So, but first of all, I was just going to say that Withintogreat was just a name I pulled up from somewhere that I wrote, because I'm always making up words, and it sounded perfect for this event or for this channel, to take two things and bring them together to be whole. So I think that's probably what we're doing in life is, or what I'm doing in life is trying to not be separate and to bring myself to actually integrating the feeling of what's true, which is that we're all one. We're all made from the same stuff. And so even though you might not like someone or you might not like what they do, we still are connected to that stuff that everything is made of, every being and everything. So I'm trying to integrate with that, my separate self, and that true being. And that is taking quite some time, because it does. That's simply the facts. I have some notes to keep myself on track. I spent a lot of years floating with feelings, just floating in my feelings, just feeling my way along without using my head. So it took me a long time, till I was 50, to start realizing, or it slowly integrates itself where you have to use your brain. So I've been using my brain and experimenting with that and being more and more into it and more heady. And so I went from being within, really, in the beginning of my life, which is dangerous without your head. So it can be like love, peace, and rock and roll turns into sex, drugs, and rape. I guess it's just to be blunt. That's what happens when you don't use your head. Or that's what happened. That's how, in a summation, I can put it without using the old head. Then going to the other extreme, using your head and being so wrapped up in intellectual figuring out why, why? Just on, and all the intricacies, and how to do this and how to do that, and everything became way more objectified. Everything became objectified. So, lost again. Just totally one extreme to the other extreme. So now, Withintogreat is an experience of trying to put those two together and be my true self. And it's so important that I guess there's something about sharing along the way that feels important to me. I don't know why, but there you go. So, I got inspired because it's July 4th weekend, and I was very inspired by Rupert Spira, who wrote an essay on, what is that called? I have to think about, Substack. This is not a plug, by the way. But he wrote an essay, and since it is a paid subscription, I don't want to use his words and just read it. So I'm just going to kind of speak from it, from my heart, in my own words. I just might have to look at my notes to see where I'm at so I don't get so crazy. Because it's nerve-wracking doing this in the first place. But I'm facing the pull to do it. I'll do it. So, July 4th is about, and this is so perfect because there was a person I met in my life, late in life, who helped give me a respite in life from all the inner and heady circumstances I found myself in, and I left them all, and I ended up being with this friend of mine who was very dear and gave me a respite. And I've said this on my Instagram and YouTube channel before, but I'm just kind of doing a little review because I'm doing a new channel. Not a new channel, I'm just moving on to try to be more directing myself towards more of this, the things that I've learned through this study with Rupert, and where I am. Period. So, like I said, I don't really know why. So anyway, July the 4th, Independence Day. My friend who gave me the respite, we celebrated that day because of its meaning and freedom. So this means a lot to me anyway, but I know it's also seems conflicting in the world because of political stuff. So, but then if I see the contrast of it being political And if I take that all the way back to the Constitution, and how the Constitution still had this depth of meaning about equality and freedom in a deeper way, the intention seemed so much more pure than we look at it today, because it isn't about just doing what I want to do. That's not the freedom that it was referring to. And it did beautiful words to bring about happiness, the pursuit of happiness and freedom, of equality. The way our Constitution is worded is, I know it's taking this objective political view, but it's putting it deeply and heartfelt into a deeper meaning than just I want this and I want that, it seems. So anyway, so that freedom seems to be so important on the outside for all the courageous people who helped us attain that freedom, to loosen the restrictions and the boundaries that we had on each other, the oppression, so that now we can go within. We have this pull to go within and get that internal freedom, so that we can see who we really are and get our clarity. And that internal freedom is about integrity and compassion, and about loving one another. Because we know that we're made from the same stuff, not because we agree. We can still have compassion for one another and still be different and have our different views. And that's all fine. It's just not about taking freedom away from each other. Freedom is not something that you can take and give. Freedom is something deep inside of us. But sometimes when we have freedom, if we're oppressing ourselves with all of opinions and things that the outer world, the media, and everybody's telling us the way to live and the way to think, and all of these things that cause oppression inside of us, and we're not able to feel free. So even if we're free on the outside, we can still feel caged on the inside when we have all of that objective world that puts all these constraints on our being, if we live in that objective world. So it's important, I think, to get to our source so we can feel that freedom and we can have that compassion and we can start from a new place. Because one thing that Rupert brought up in his essay was the Dalai Lama had this story that he would tell about this gentleman who was on a Chinese concentration camp, and when the two of them finally got back together, he asked, what was the hard, how was it, how hard, how awful, or how was it for you in there? And the gentleman said, there were times when I almost lost my compassion for the guards. That was that innate feeling of oneness coming out in that time, stripped of all the outer goods that we pile on ourselves, and that inner being shining through. Wow. It's really wonderful. I love thinking about that. So, July 4th is a beautiful time for a beautiful beginning for all of us, where we can think about it. We can ask ourselves the question of, are we sharing our being with everyone and everything? Because there's a great bigger picture. And it's like it's about us to not be about us. It's about us to see that it's not about us. Because there's so much more. It's like it's about us to love and know ourselves so that we can love and share that being with everyone and everything. And when I say that, I'm already putting words just automatically, when I use certain words, they just automatically separate things. So words are tough, but I don't want to spend a lot of time trying to figure it out, because I don't know what I'm doing and I know it, and so therefore I just have to go ahead and say it, wrong or right. But I'm trying to emphasize that we're all one. And this Independence Day is a good time to soak that in and feel it. So that's what I hope I'm going to be doing. And Withintogreat will continue on. This is the first time I have recorded on a square screen for YouTube. So now I got to work on getting it on there. So I'll work on that. And since I'm not real sure where to go from here, I guess I'll go ahead and end for now. And see you next time.